I don't think so. Yes, I know. That's why I never stop.
Sky, throw before the light, like a crying for the moon. Never-ending ride, forgot what I want. Never held my heart to me. That's why I go forward, don't look back. I can't believe in the path I'm on. Faith, pride, so what do I have to be? Sacred fires, never stop, just go. I don't care how many months gotta get. Here in the pale fire, I'm going as far as I can. I hope my path will be a guideline for someone to follow. The roar of the spark. Thunder burns my eyes. What a strange ascent. Sound becomes fun again. Never-ending wide. Forgot what I want. Is this Arcadia? I don't know what's right for the world. Oh, I may have lost my way. There's no reason to doubt it now. So I do. Under the sacred wires,
Okay, baller. Yeah, and I forgot to change the actual. I'm not playing Legend of Legaia today. I'm looking so forward to playing more Legend of Legaia though. Nessa said that she's gonna play Legend of Legaia, and it's just like, all right. At some point, they will though. And that's going to be fun whenever she gets around to it. I'm looking forward to them doing that with much joy. But yes, hi everybody, happy Friday. I hope the day was restful and or productive for y'all. Hey Stubby, hey Kettle, how am I doing? Not too bad today. Dog has behaved. Dog has behaved himself. Work was actually relatively chill today as far as like that usually tends to go. So, you know. But yeah, I'm good in the overall. I was looking for the picture to put on here and I couldn't find it. Go. Yeah, that's good. Hey Anna, what's up? But yeah, and the overall I'd say today has been pretty good, relatively speaking. Speaking of dogs, Rose's operation went well, so far avoided messing with the bandage, and by extension, he has avoided the cone. Very good. We love to hear that. When doggos decide to test the cone, yeah, these things happen. I slept a lot again. Excellent. Everybody out here with these W's. We love to see it. We love to see it. Very good. No shame indeed. Completely random, but I really need to make a PNG or VTuber mascot. I keep getting sidetracked. Yeah. Yeah, I know at some point I'm supposed to probably... I should probably at least, because I have, if you look at the panels down below, you see how there's that head, or there's that me, or that thing that looks like me down there, that goes with most of those headers. I have a full body version of that that doesn't move, and I could use that literally as like the first step to doing something similar to a PingTuber. It's just that I never got around to it. But yeah, also doing nothing during the day sometimes is what we call that good shit. Very good. And I stopped just to think about announcements for a second. I don't think I have anything to announce right now, as of yet. Or at least nothing that I think I can immediately talk about right away. So we might just kind of launch straight into it, especially because I'm a little late. So yeah, I'm doing good. So yeah, only reason why camera's off today is just because like, not feeling that vibe. But I suspect that probably by next Sunday stream, next episode of Legend of Legaia, I think I should be ready to go on that front. A friend of mine recently commissioned a live 2D rig, and her avatar came out really good. Take those. I've been grinding Pokemon levels with some shiny friends I got over the last few days. Had to mod recommendation list for Minecraft on Steam Deck. Everybody's winning. Oh yeah, I guess I can say that I have been, at least when I get my chance in my off-work time, I've been doing a lot more programming for Viral Core Busters, which is good. Localization mostly works with it now at this point, which I'm really happy about. It's all very quick and dirty localization, like throwing some things into like Google Translate, things like that. But it works. And so I have the backbone built in a way that's useful for... I'm not going to hard commit to saying that I'm going to turn it into a full project yet, because that is like a full ass... that is legitimately like a full ass... what's the word I'm looking for? That is a full platformer, even if I cut down the number of levels. So... I finished a book, wrote a post on DQ11. I feel almost productive. I mostly slept on it. Sometimes the body just knows what it needs. And sometimes the vibe is just like nap time. Oh, right. I guess an announcement that does matter, that is kind of important. I think I said this probably on Sunday, but just as like a reminder, and inevitably it'll come up whenever the timer comes up. But I am going to be uploading, what's the word that I'm looking for? Strive, please don't do this bullshit to me right now. I'm begging you. I'm gonna have to restart this. Crap. The only L I got today was while multitasking between Pokemon grinding and list typing, a shiny Hoppip walked into me and I accidentally knocked it out. Ouch. Yeah, all I have to say is like, ouch. But right, the announcements that I meant to bring up. So, Brain, please turn on. Oh right, I forgot to turn off the Legend of Legaia timer. Shit. Ignore that. That doesn't count for today. I'll go try to turn that off without everything exploding real quick. Nightbot. Behave yourself, please. Timers, and then just go turn off content warnings for right now, because we don't need those. And I'm just gonna yank that so that it's not in the way. Let's go into training mode and just kind of like warm up old-fashioned style. All right, the announcement I wanted to talk about. I did mention this during the last stream, but one of the things that I am doing different for 2023 is that I will actually be uploading Fighting Friday. I will be uploading Fighting Friday streams over on YouTube now. I have it thanks to the power of Commander Root's Vault. I have things like auto export basically. So yeah, after a while just going like, well, Fighting Fridays, I don't know if like it's worth like exporting that because I'm not doing as much like focus content. I was like, I might as well at this point, honestly. So you can expect to start seeing more Fighting Friday stuff show up over on the YouTube. Probably not going to upload any of the old ones. I might, but I think it's probably just easier to start from 2023 and go from there. Also, hi Mojo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1. Just 1. Start it over. 5. Good. 1. Little farther. There we go. 1, 2. Damn, that 2S reaches really far. How you doing tonight, Mojo? 3, 4. Sure. 1. 1. 1. A little closer. 3. 1. So like here. 2, 3, 4, 5. So as a refresher for anybody who hasn't seen me do this activity before, what I'm doing to kind of like warm myself up properly is 1, 2, sort of get like the maximum 3, 4, the maximum range of about every button that I have, give or take, just to remind myself of where like 1, 4, 5, remind myself of where the actual tip of each button is, because hitting at less than the tip is pretty easy, but hitting at the tip is a little difficult. And I'm not expecting to necessarily hit at the tip every time, but by doing this activity, sort of like warm up a little bit, I remind myself of what spaces I need to check, what distances I'm checking in order to hit. Been dealing with a snowstorm most of the day on top of getting back in the swing of things, writing and planning wise after a month off. I feel that. 2, 3, 4. It's a little bit more than round distance. Like this is definitely too far, but this I think should be about right. 5. Good. And dust reaches right here. No, a little shorter. 1, 4, 5, and then 2 each. 1, 1. So ideally, right, the idea is that you get 1, 2, you get the max range for every button at least 5 times in a row if you want to do it the short way. If you're like, okay, this is not like a hard recommendation, but this is just like a personal thing. If you're like learning a game for the first time and you really, really want to like get this down, if you have the attention span for it, I recommend doing like a 10 count for each of these to kind of just warm up. If you're like, nah, I just need to like I need to get into like the grime like fast, and I don't have like the patience to do like reps of 10, 5 works. But like, especially if you're just trying to first learn a game and you really want to like kind of maximize your gains a little bit, you run through each button standing and crouching 10 times and try to, let me phrase that. You try to hit at the maximum range of each button that you have while standing up and while crouching 10 times in a row for each button. If 10 is a little hard to start off with, then you start with 5 and work your way up over time. But the idea and the purpose is mostly to remind yourself where the tip of your moves are, so that you can like get your spacing right accordingly. It's not going to be something that you get perfect right away the first time, but it helps. Okay, cool, that does work. That's good to know. Okay, that's really, really good, actually. Because it means that I don't have to worry about accidentally fucking up the, It means I don't have to worry as much about accidentally fucking up the follow-up with Tyrant Barrel if I can't get the height right. Okay, good. Okay, right, that makes sense. Okay, good, I'm warmed up. At least a little bit. I have to go lead on the dust combo. I'll talk a little bit again about how Sin works in a minute, because I realize that we haven't played Guilty Gear Strive in a while, and so there may be some people who are like, how does this character work? What does this do? And I'll be happy to talk about that in a second. I'm just going to go look up another combo that I want to make sure that I know how to do real quick. Dust, Sin, Keith. And then I will talk a little bit about some of his basic theory to kind of warm us back up. It's like y'all get an idea of like how these things work. I'm waiting for this thing to load. So, let me see here. My internet is still, well, I should say that it's either something going on, I don't know with what, but my desktop has this problem where, for whatever reason, just Google searches and certain other things just don't do what they're supposed to. And it's like, I need you to stop and work correctly. What is my... Okay, here we go. But there's just one combo I want to pick up and just de-rust on real quick, because it works on every character, including Potemkin, and certain other variations of it don't work on other characters, so... HK. There we go. I fucked up. It's not max damage. It's not max damage, but it works on everybody, which is kind of the more important thing. This combo will drop, like this combo won't drop on Potemkin, for example, but some of the other ones will. Just because of like weight and other things like hitbox size and things like that. So I just wanted to like remind myself of what that was so I can do it fairly consistently. I'll probably drop it a couple of times in match just because I haven't played Strive. I got some games yesterday with some pretty chill people, but I also haven't like played like ranked in a little while. And I did a little bit last night just to kind of see where I was at, and it's like not bad, just not in my top shape. So, a quick refresher on Sin, since it's been a little while since played some Strive. Quick refresher on Sin and how he works. So, basically speaking, right, that little flag meter above the tension gauge on my side of the screen, over here on the left side, so you look down at the bottom left of the screen, right? You see that little meter that's burning blue with the flag on it? Sin has, what, like 5 different special moves? Beak Driver, Hawkbaker, Elk Hunt, and Hoof Stomp. As well as, like, that, but that doesn't really matter here. So, for Beak Driver, Elk Hunt, Hoof Stomp, and Hawkbaker, Sin has a follow-up attack for each of those. And every time you use one of those follow-up attacks, he burns 1 bar of stamina. He can also, instead of doing one of the follow-up moves, he can do another special move called Gazelle Step from these. And with Gazelle Step, what will happen is, rather than like do an immediate attack, he'll sort of do like a juking dash forward to kind of approach the enemy, rather than hit them. And this can be used to set up what we call strike-throw mix, for example, where it's like, okay, if you have enough, if you hit the opponent with the right movement, right? Where you do Gazelle Step, and then you either go for like an attack, or you go for a throw instead, right? That's what we call strike-throw mix. You can also, if you want to get like really spicy, you can also use Gazelle Step, right? You can also use Gazelle Step to follow up after Sin's follow-up moves. They can do Beak Driver Extension, Gazelle Step, right? The Gazelle Step will cost you another chunk of stamina gauge, as y'all see down there, but it becomes one of those things where Sin can convert, provided that he has the stamina for it, he can convert single hits into like suddenly, wow, I am sitting on top of you and you're not having a good time. And the last and most sort of important nuance of the stamina gauge is that obviously he can't do any follow-ups when he doesn't have any stamina, but you'll notice that basically the less stamina you have, the faster it will start refilling before it slows down. So the first chunk of stamina that you use always regenerates the slowest. If you use 2 chunks of stamina, it will regenerate faster and then slow down again. However, if you use up all of it, it regenerates very fast, then medium fast, and then slows back down. Now that I've seen Gazelle Step in this game, I now understand what you mean by everyone in Street Fighter 6 having it. Yeah. And in Street Fighter 6, right? With Street Fighter 6, the way that they set it up is basically that you have Gazelle Step off of any single like normal move, like one of these that you can use in Street Fighter 6 that you can cancel into a special move. You can cancel into Drive Rush in Street Fighter 6. So everybody basically has this Gazelle Step. It's a little slower in Street Fighter 6, but they functionally have something very similar, except off of any normal that you can cancel via Drive Rush. But the main thing with Sin in particular, right? So the main way that like a lot of like Sin's basic combos work, such as they are, is that you really have 2 options, right? If you can launch somebody into the air, and usually this is like the common way of doing it. If you can manage the combo into 2H, which is this move, and you're close enough in distance, you can do that. Hoof Stomp, right? And you notice that it kind of bounces them a little bit, right? Hoof Stomp and Gazelle Step. And then out of the Gazelle Step, you do Close Slash, which is this. And with the right timing, that allows you to do follow-ups accordingly. And for 1 stamina, it's pretty good. So yeah, provided that Sin has stamina, he is a monster. Of like close range pressure and things like that. Sin's main weaknesses are mostly just that his buttons are kind of slow. He doesn't have like bad defensive options, but his buttons are very slow, and you have to be very careful about like not overextending yourself in terms of using up too much stamina all at once. But he otherwise does like shit tons of damage, and he's really fun. The 2 other things I want to cover are his overdrives or his super moves. So we have RTL. On hit, you can steer it up to 2 more times. You can steer it up to 2 more times. And then, if you happen to have even a tiny little bit extra tension gauge afterward, you can do a burst, an additional burst of damage with it that scales based on how much meter you still have. So, it uses up all the rest of it, as you can see, right? Well, let's see here if I can do this. Hang on. I've dropped it. RTL. It's a little harder if you manage to carry them full screen. Why did so many fighting games have stamina meters and the like? What made so many game devs decide to tie it? So, the main point of it is mostly that fighting games at their core are about push and pull. Fighting games at their core are about push and pull, right? Even in games that don't have a stamina meter, right? Or don't have, like, some other gauge that your character uses for other mechanics and things like that. So here's the thing. Here's kind of the main way that you look at it, right? It's all about push and pull. I think this is something that Masahiro Sakurai talks about, like Kirby guy and Smash Brothers guy. He talks about this a little bit in some of his own, in some of his videos about like game design principles. But there's like a certain tension, especially. It's a thing that can happen in other games aside from fighting games, but I'm using fighting games as the example since I'm talking, right? There is always supposed to be, to a certain degree, or at least what makes most fighting game interactions fun or interesting, is the idea that you have to sort of manage this push and pull, right? And a lot of how that kind of comes into play with characters that have meters, like, so let's give an example of just like this, right? I'm going to use Sin as an example as to why this is the way that it is. And I think this will help frame and answer the Kettle's question in a way that makes sense. If Sin did not have a stamina gauge, right? And you could just do your Beak Driver extension for free, basically, or your Elk Hunt extensions for free, or even like Beak Driver Gazelle Step for free, right? If that wasn't there, then when you look at how Sin's offense would be affected by that, as well as like the power of it, right? When you look at Sin's offense and you look at the power of how it would be affected, the answer is basically that he would shoot up pretty much the damn near top tier. Because when you look at specifically what Gazelle Step offers, as well as what his follow-ups offer in most situations, right? I could Beak Driver, wait for a little bit, and then, like, if somebody presses a button after the Beak Driver, I pop them for it. But if I had no cost to that, I can do that whenever. If Gazelle Step has no cost to that, I can do that whenever, right? The point of, like, stamina meters or other kinds of, like, mechanic gauges, there are two purposes that they serve. Either they are serving as a signpost to tell both you and the opponent what you can or cannot do at this moment, and they are limiting breaks on what strengths a character has. It's a very deliberate thing. Because, can you make fighting games without it? Yes. Can you have characters without that? Yes. Like Soul, bad guy in this game, and Kai Kisk in this game, they don't have, right, things like that. Now, Kai does have a mechanic that's unique to him called the Shock State, where if he hits you with a Fireball or Dier Eclat, then you get this temporary electric field around you that will make certain hits that he hits you with become a lot more potent in their hit style. But then you have characters who don't have that. Like Potemkin doesn't have anything like that at all, and he's still a very functional character. But it's one of those things where for characters that have those mechanics, it is usually about it's either about balance or it's about both balance and figuring out how to convey certain things. Yeah, what Stubby said is also true, right? The extra meter means that some moves can be stronger without being completely busted, and if the kit didn't have the moves, then the character would be a lot less interesting to play, right? Like, even Sin in Guilty Gear XR, he works kind of the same way, even though the mechanics are different. In Guilty Gear XR, for example, right, Sin has what's called the calorie gauge instead, and he can just flat out cancel special moves into special moves as much as he wants, as long as he has food in the calorie gauge. And he has to manually stop and refill the calorie gauge either when it gets empty or too close to it. Because if he tries to do moves with an empty calorie gauge, he'll do the move and then he'll get hungry and be completely uncontrollable for like a full second and a half. Right? So that's how they balance it in Guilty Gear XR. In Strive, they reduced the complexity of having to manage that because the stamina gauge will replenish on its own, and he can still use special moves with an empty stamina gauge in this game. It's just that his pressure becomes less effective, right? So yeah, it's a balance thing, and it's also about a thing where it forces the player to have to keep track of these resources in a way that constrains it. In this game, even my main Nagoriyuki has the blood gauge to keep track of because the special moves would be ridiculous of a penalty of it, which causes him to go into a rage. His sword moves do a lot more damage, but he can't use special moves, and his health drains. And as his blood gauge gets more full, he takes more damage, right? Interesting. I wish it was a little more streamlined in the UI. That's me being biased because So here's the thing about that, right? Obviously, there is always room for figuring out better ways to signpost it, but it's one of those things where I'm going to put this very carefully because I don't want to invalidate your point because you're right. There are ways to think about like screen economy and how you express these things. But it's one of those things where, to a certain extent, part of the challenge is in learning how to check these things and how to track these things. So, yeah, you can make a better case. You can make a case for like integrating the visual of it better in ways that are easier to see. But one of the challenges of this is also like how you manage to do screen economy as a result. Excuse me. It's also one of those things where, as far as fighting games are concerned, and this is more of just a thing that people don't tell you about it, And not everybody does this the same way, but the key is not always to look at all of the screen at the same time, right? When I am actually focused incorrectly, let me ask this question of the chat, just to kind of like get y'all's thoughts on this. When I am playing this game, do you think I am looking at my character or at the enemy character? I'm just gonna ask that as an open question to the chat. So when I'm playing in a fighting game and like I'm not, assuming that I'm not like asleep at the wheel, who do you think I'm looking at? Enemy, the enemy, ideally both. So, in most situations, I am actually looking at the spot right between us. I'm not looking at myself, and I'm not looking at them. I'm looking at the spot most of the time. Not always, but most of the time, I'm looking at the space in between us. And when I do that, right, I click down to the lower left for like half a second, and I can see my tension gauge and my stamina meter. If I look, I flick up a little bit to the left, up a little bit to the right, I can see our health and burst and stuff like that. It's not, again, this is not necessarily a thing I do all the time, but yeah, I'm looking at basically dead in the middle. There was a study that was done, yeah, like with an eye tracking map, and this is the thing, right? I don't know if it's on Shoryuken.com anymore, and I don't know where you'd be able to find it, but there was an eye tracking map done for some pros in Street Fighter 4, and not all the time, but most of the time, eye tracking was putting their vision basically roughly right at the middle distance between themselves and the opponent, with occasional flicks up to like the health bar or to other bars on screen. And the main reason why is because if you sort of think about it, when you think about it, I'm exaggerating this a little bit, but when you look at the dead center, it is generally less of a travel time to check other parts of the screen at any given moment. Obviously, if your opponent's really far away from you, for example, right? Even if I'm looking like roughly at the middle, if Kai does like a stun edge or something, like his fireball, it's gonna pass through the spot where I'm looking anyway, right? And if he starts moving into range behind it, if I'm still looking at roughly the middle of the screen, give or take, then if Kai is moving into range behind the stun edge, or even if he's approaching from the air, then it's like right there. Hey Cosmo, what's up? It's fascinating. Never occurred to me. Yeah, and that's the trick, right? If you're looking at the middle of the screen, it helps control a certain degree, right? It helps you sort of control. It helps you sort of like control how much looking in different directions you have to do. And then as you get more used to your hands just doing things on their own, this is the thing that happens like over time, right? As your hands get the muscle memory down, and you don't even have to like worry about like, oh, I need to check if I'm doing, like, I don't have to check my height or anything. I can spend that time while I'm in the middle of a combo, letting my hands do what they do to maybe check something else real quick to see, do I need to like finish out with this thing or what have you. So basically, center screen is where the things you need to react to, more or less, yeah, right? With KOF, and I might demonstrate this because the KOF patch, and I don't think we're playing KOF this month, if I remember correctly. I don't think that's one of the games we're playing. Let me see. Because if it is, then we'll play it in time for the patch this month. But let's see here. No, I lied. We are in fact playing KOF 15 next week, which means we're literally just in time for the balance patch that's going to come out. So y'all will see this when I talk about it next week. But for example, in the King of Fighters, Dandy J, who makes a lot of like King of Fighters tutorial videos on YouTube, if you want to learn how to play KOF, go watch Dandy J stuff. It's really good. I think for the most part, he also avoids using casual ableism, so that should also be really good. But you may want to watch out for that. But Danny J's KOF videos are really good. He has one called the KOF Zone, right? where he says, for King of Fighters, right, most of the time, you're looking at center screen, and then at about from waist height to head height on most characters. That is roughly what we call the KOF zone. Because in King of Fighters, you do a lot of like hops and things like that, right? And because you're hopping a lot, the space, or where you might be hopping a lot, the space where a lot of characters will tend to occupy, if they're doing hops, is the area right above the waist up to about the head of most characters. So if you're looking at center screen plus at around that spot, then when you're looking at center screen, you're going to be able to like get an idea how that works. Yeah, Danny J's videos are really good. They're very, very good at breaking down concepts about King of Fighters specifically, if that's a thing that you want to get more into. This is also something easier said than done, at least for me. I have more food for thought when it comes to fighting. Yeah, like, all of these things that I'm saying are things that I have developed over, and even though I don't do them perfectly, because that perfection is like bullshit and doesn't exist, these are things that have taken me literal years to develop in terms of like actually being able to do it even like roughly quote unquote consistently, and even then not all the time, right? Like, it's a thing that is like anything else, a developed kind of practice skill. So if you're like, dang, I can't get it, I'm bad, it's like, no, this is hard. And I don't mean that in a way of like saying, oh, this is hard, so prepare to like sweat and suffer for it. It's just, it's a thing that you have to acclimate yourself to. It's really just kind of what it is. And the acclimation will not be perfect, it just takes time. But yeah, Stubby. Yeah, the things that you more or less need to react to immediately will pass through usually the space between your character and the opponent. Right? Even if they're like up close with you, and this is another reason why that exercise that I do at the start of stream, where I try to hit at the tip of my buttons all the time, that's why that exercise is so good. Because if you have a rough idea of where like the tip of most of your buttons is, then when you're gauging that middle range in between, then depending on how crunched up or how spaced out that middle range is, you will know what buttons will hit in that range, more or less, if you know the tip of each of your buttons, if you're familiar enough-ish with it. And that's the key, right? Yeah, I'm probably gonna get like fucked up for a little bit because I haven't played. Like I said, I haven't like played online in like a hot minute, and I have to like readjust. For example, to Milia, who is very much like a. Got the burst. Good. Yeah, I'm focus spacing for just 1 second. Oh! Wow! Tried to get me with the double dash. Good, stuff that. Yeah, so Milia's main thing, and you're gonna see this a lot, is that you may notice that once she puts out that disc when I'm knocked down, you may notice that she'll like do a lot of like she'll do like a lot of like dashes and things like that. What she's trying to do is force me to block the disc on the wrong side so I get hit. Yeah, so like if she does turbo fall stuff where she suddenly descends to the ground or things like that, a lot of that is to like deliberately, especially after a disc is out, is to deliberately force me to I'm gonna die. I fucked up a little bit. It's to force me to mess up which way I'm blocking so that I get hit by the disc. Against Milia, for example, a rare time where I'm not looking at the distance between us is if I get knocked down and a disc is on top of me, I have to watch her and not the space in between us so I can see what she's gonna do. And you're not always gonna get it right because the point is that like she's gonna make you guess between a couple of different options. But yeah, like when Millia knocks me down and throws a disc on top of me, that's one of the times where I'm not looking at the space in between us. I'm looking at her, so I can try to guess at what she's going to do next. Because if I'm already knocked down, then it doesn't really matter. I have to pay more attention to like where she is, so that I can figure out whether or not she's going to try to force me to block the disc the wrong way or otherwise. Wrong button. Yeah, like there, she stayed on the same side, so that I would have to, if I was gonna block it, I'd have to try doing it a different way. I messed it up. I got hit with 6P. Ooh, that was close. The main benefit I have in this matchup is that while Millia is faster than me, she has shit for health, which means that basically, provided I don't fuck up, she's not going to last. She has to basically just not, she has to spend a lot of time not getting hit. Oh, I got the burst bait! 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 Yes! Yes! I got the burst bait! I love it. That's so good. So I love it when I get the burst bait. It's so fun. It's really hard, but it works. Hang on, I gotta focus because like this Millia will actually literally fuck me up if I'm not paying attention. Yep, there's throw. Disc is out. She dashed over me to force me to block it the wrong way, and I fell for it. Ooh, that was good. Yeah, I'm dead. Good winger. Oh, that was wrong time to burst. Oh, yeah, I sort of saw it coming, but not 100%. Oh, yep, see? The double dash there was to force me to like have to try to make a guess between what side she was going to hit me on. I should have gone backwards. That's my fault. I should have gone backwards instead of going up. I should have gone backwards. But that's fine. Yeah. Because going backwards, because that Millia used faultless defense, going backwards basically would have meant that I should have been able to get out without her being able to like run me down. But I wasn't thinking about that, and I went upward instead like a clown. So I got caught. Which happens.
Mankind knew that they cannot change society. So
Yeah, let's see if we can get another burst bait at least.
duel one.
If I get down to the 7th floor tonight, that's not the worst thing in the world. I kind of already acknowledged that I was rusty as it was. And Milia, even with characters that I know how to use, Milia has always been a hard matchup for me because of how fast she moves. I get very, like, blocking mix-up is very hard. In that case, so here's the main thing, right? The nice thing about the disc is that it doesn't matter if you block it high or low. Disc doesn't require that. The main thing is that you have to watch Milia. So, like there in that case, right? She did the fastball past me to go into the corner, so I had to switch what side to block on, and I didn't because I didn't realize what she was gonna do. And that happens, you know. It's not the end of the world. Yeah, like there, I blocked the disc, but then she switched sides, I think. I blocked either the disc or, first. Damn it! Okay, she did, which is the important part. Yeah, oof. We're out. Ooh.
Duel 3.
Good. Nope, I was too high up. And now I'm probably gonna get wall broken. Yeah, I fucked up. Yeah, trying to fight Milia in the air is also not a good idea. Oh, shit. I did it. I got back just enough meter from the wall break. Because what happens when you get a wall break is that for a little while, your tension gauge increases in gain. So I had just enough meter to get a Roman cancel to finish that, or I would have died on the next hit. It would have been bad. Oop. Okay, managed to guess right there, and I hit the grab and managed to avoid getting bursted out. Ah, fuck! I got caught by the fastball cross up. Bad mooned. Okay, let's see. Yep. Don't fight Milia in midair. That's how you lose. She has like 2 air dashes. I saw what you said, Kaz. Give me 1 sec. Fighting for my life. I do want to read it because I glanced it and I appreciate what you said, but I'm also fighting for my life. So I will very gladly read that as soon as the pain stops. Get off me. All right, Miraz has upper body involved. Yeah, I might get got here. Yep. Did the backdash because I thought she was gonna stay in and she didn't. And yeah, that's that. One thing I'm excited about is that all the things where I'm self-conscious about losing my knowledge and shit about fighting games, I'm actually feeling good about getting back into this because I learned so much from you. Yeah. I will say that probably the main thing I will call a strength in terms of my ability. I'm not always as good at doing it on the fly as I would like, but I have a general idea most of the time of what people want to do if I'm paying enough attention. Being able to actually enact it and stop them from doing it is a little harder. Got the burst, that's all I really care about. I wasn't able to bait it, but I got the burst, which is the important part. Okay, Amelia tried to do that and couldn't quite swing it. They like to go to the air a lot after certain engagements, but I'm not sure if I can, like, actually... Ooh. Okay, I was able to make that work. So if I can figure out how to call out certain habits that they have about going to the air after certain engagements, I might be able to 6P them out of it. Ooh! I blocked it, somehow. We take those. Okay, so they like to jump after... I don't know if I can capitalize on that, that'll be hard. Ah, fuck, they got me with the double. Too slow. Mm-hmm. Fuck! Bursted too high, shit! Ah. Damn, I bursted too high. If I'd been able to hit them... Eh. Good. Oh, shit. That was Gold Burst. Not great. They have a lot of meter to use now, which is not ideal. Yeah. So there, right, I blocked the disc, but I wasn't watching Milia, so she went for the low, and I can't block mid and low at the same time unless I crouch block. So if I crouch block that, would have been the right answer. But I didn't, and I got. I'm dead. I tried. Yeah! Holy shit! Yeah! Woo! The main thing I was gambling on there was whether or not they were going to actually keep their defense and block if I hit them with a meaty, and they didn't. And that was the only reason why I pulled that off. So yeah, again, Milia, for all that she's really fast and really obnoxious to kind of like pin down, what Sin has as an advantage over her is that he does so much damage that if he touches her like 2 times and doesn't fuck it up, she's almost dead. I actually don't feel like a noob watching SJ. Exactly that. I appreciate y'all so much. Thank you. I really do appreciate that. So yeah. This Milia pretty much has their shit together though. So the hard part here is that I have to stop doing lows in situations where they tend to jump a lot, because what's happening most of the time, that and when I try to like do certain other kinds of fuck, I misread the distance on the burst. It's one of those things where I keep pressing low buttons after certain interactions that we have, and then when they jump or something instead, I get hit. That's not gonna work. I should have gone for RTL if I was gonna do a super. Yeah, like right there, right? I hit 2S during part of that interaction, and they jumped, so didn't help. And I tried to jump and do like JH there, but button's too slow, so I got hit. I wanted to do a dash there. First. Nope. Off me. close it. Shit. Out a little bit. Ah, fuck! Damn. If she hadn't caught my elk hunt, that would have been the round. Which is unfortunate. But she probably had a suspicion I was going to do it, and that's why she put that button there to stop the elk hunt, if I had to guess. It was either that or just trying to poke in general. Yeah, that's the main thing about elk hunt, unfortunately. Like, as much as, like, people who are playing against Sin get annoyed by it, because, like, it's really fast and goes low. How am I supposed to block that? It's like, if you're not trusting yourself to block it, if you put out a low button at the right timing, then you don't have to. You'll stuff it. Good. There we go. Oop. Whew. Yeah, I did it there again. Cause yeah, certain interactions they just like to go to the air right afterward, and I have to try to do something about that. Should have blocked that low. Fuck. Baited the throw, very good. Yeah, like there, like you saw how I did that move where I poked at the ground and they were in the. I did it again. Fuck, that's annoying. Yeah, like that's the main thing, right? If there are certain interactions that we have where I stop doing, got the burst early, good. Where I can stop, like, doing low moves, I'll have a better time actually getting punishment for certain things. I believe here, actually. Yeah. I did something silly there, and I made it work, but I really didn't need to do what I was doing. So, an important thing about psychological pressure in fighting games. When your opponent has less life, it's hard to do it in quick sets, but one of the things that that winds up being important for the psychology, a lot of it, is that knowing what your opponent does when they get, what type of person is your opponent when they get low on life? Do they have a tendency to like freak out under pressure? Do they get like really antsy and try to like force? If you force them into certain interactions, will they try to go for like more dangerous? Will they try to go for more dangerous and risky reversal moves? Will they not engage you and become more afraid of you, right? Knowing these things is kind of important. And if you have a life lead, so this is an important thing that people kind of forget a lot, because they get, and it happens to me too, right? I'm not saying this as if I don't do this myself, because I've done it more than once. But an important thing to kind of remember is that if you have a life lead, that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to like rush in, right? Like here, I can just afford, like with the life lead that I had, I don't have to rush in. Like I don't have any reason to go running down at Millia and rushing in at Millie. Because functionally speaking, right, if I just play cool when I have either a significant life lead or even a moderate one, that creates more, like, remember that push and pull? It creates pressure, right? If I have a life lead and I'm kind of just like chilling and I'm like, I don't need to move, Like, I've got the life lead. Why do I need to come to you? Why do I need to aggress at you? You have to come to me because you're the one that's behind right now, right? That is a form of psychological pressure. And so, even when you're winning in a fighting game, even if you're a character that's like Sin or like Cammy in Street Fighter, or an archetype where you do really good at like rushing people down, you don't always have to immediately do that, right? You can just kind of like do the SpongeBob meme thing and just stand there menacingly sometimes, and that's enough, you know? Because if you got the life lead, you just kind of like, it doesn't mean that you don't do anything and don't block or anything like that, but by being, or even necessarily that you're completely passive, if you just like kind of threaten just by like moving closer or just otherwise kind of like holding space, and this is the hard part, it's not something that you learn very easily, but when you have a life lead, you don't necessarily always have to be aggressive. I delayed a little too long there. And sometimes, yeah, you do what this Baiken is doing. It's like, okay, I'm already in close. I might as well, like, press some buttons since I'm already in close and kind of do that. Yeah, sometimes it's a thing you want to do. Sometimes it's not a thing you want to do. Got the burst, which is all I really care about. And now, right, pressure. Notice, right? This Baiken is not like super aggressive, but once I had the life lead and I got them to use burst, it's like, okay, I gotta get in and make something happen, but I don't know what. And that makes it really easy to then pop people with like Elk Hunt, because they get nervous. Okay, that's good. So when Baiken does her throw, she tethers you to her for a little bit, which allows her to get some combos that normally wouldn't work. And she got burst back right as I got the combo finish, which is unfortunate for her. But yeah, like that's the thing about fighting games. And this is why whenever people say, oh yeah, all you have to do in fighting games is learn how to do combos, they're so ableist word here, and you have to think, it's like, no. I've said this before, but like combos are the reward that you get for doing well in the neutral, right? Once you have kind of like managed to properly establish yourself as a threat, and once you're able to like start getting people to make mistakes and you hit them with stuff, that's when combos begin to become important, right? Like once you have actually put people in the state where it's like, okay, an opening, right? People kind of like mistake the oh damn. Okay, they know the trick and they didn't burst. Ooh, they tried to hit me with something on Wake Up and got hit by the stomp. They might have been going for super, which would have absolutely hit me and I would have eaten an entire bag of shit. But I'm not sure if that's what they were going for or not. Good. Already. Kami. Yozan-sen. Good combo. They're really careful about using Kabari very nice. Good. Like they don't use the follow-up to it that often. Good. That's all I really wanted. I might get hit by that maybe because I hit a button. Okay, good. Nice recovery. Very good recovery on their part. I probably would have gotten hit by whatever they did after that. When they did the super and I blocked it, and then they did a Roman cancel afterward, I would have probably gotten hit by whatever they did next. I'm not even gonna front. Strike throw, baby! Good throw, good throw. I messed up meaty timing, very good. Tommy. Ooh, good. Good. All I wanted. I got the burst, and that's the important part. So, one of my personal chat, and this is me. This is how I play Guilty Gear. Not necessarily how everybody plays Guilty. I am fine sometimes with like, if I do like a full charge dust combo like that, and somebody bursts part way through, oftentimes I'm okay with that. Sure, my combo got interrupted and we go back to neutral, but if I have enough of a life lead, it now basically means that in a lot of circumstances, right, if I get you in another combo, you're not getting out of that. Right? Like, even as they're gaining back burst meter, right, they couldn't burst any of that. And while they were slowly gaining back the burst meter, again, psychological, I know I keep saying this a lot because it's important. I keep saying it a lot, but it's important is what I mean. The psychological pressure of, wow, they are like, okay, sure, they haven't killed me yet, and I can still get it back, sort of, but with no burst, if I am putting the right amount, especially as Sin, where it's like, oh yeah, I can do a special move, and then do Gazelle Step, and then I'm in your face, did I go for a strike? Did I go for a throw? You don't know? Uh-oh, yikes-a-roonies, right? That's, again, psychological pressure is oftentimes just as, if not more important than doing combos, right? And so whenever I say stuff about like, psychological pressure, or I scream about that, this is the kind of thing I'm talking about, right? Where it's like, it's all about, oh god damn it, Leo. I haven't fought against a Leo player in a while. Strike throw, right here, for example, right? Okay, good. Got the DP. Get off me. He's back turned. Got first. Striking someone out easier or harder when you know them? For you personally, I mean. It can depend. I need to be more aware of the fact that Leo can do that. I need to remember that more often. Okay, that's good. I'll answer that question in a second, Kettle. It's been a little while since I fought against Aleo, so I sort of need the extra brain cells at the moment, if I would answer. No. I might die. Oh no, the Roman cancel scaled it just enough. If I'd done 6p there, I might have pulled that off, but I wasn't thinking about whether or not they'd be in the air. Damn. Gonna DP. Ah, damn. Did they quit or did I get knocked out? Did I lose internet connection? They quit. Oh no. No, not like this. ISJ PT wants to know who I'm living with. Sin. Tell her it's Sin Kisk. And if she's like, who? Say the kid in Guilty Gear with the eye patch and the flag. That's who. Also, hi, Squishy. But yeah, psyching people out, it depends. So, like, it's a 50-50. There are certain people who I play against, and I'm going to say a name, and Vallejo is going to go like, oh yeah, this person's really hard. Like, there's this person I play a lot called Virus in the Wine Cellar, right? Virus, you can't, like, not that he can't have mind games played on him, but he's a very difficult person to mind games like that. He's very good at making a lot of snap judgments and catching certain bad habits that you have. It's very difficult to psych him out because he is usually wired enough to pay pretty close attention to what it is that you're going to do. And he and I have been playing long enough that he has a pretty good fix on most of the things that I will try to do. So a lot of it, when you fight against somebody that you know really well, it's one of those things where past a certain point, you have to start playing the game of making them really, really, really think that you might do this one thing when you're not going to, except sometimes you do. It's a little easier. For me personally, it can be a little easier when it's somebody I don't know if I am working from an advantageous position. Because it's one of those things where depending on how quickly they adapt, if I use certain types of bullshit that they're not going to be able to like catch on the fly and I rotate my options enough, then if they don't know me or how I play, and even if I don't know them, if I've picked up on a particular habit that they get onto quickly enough, it's just game, set, match, more or less. But yeah, how you doing today, Squishy? Hopefully well. And Kendall, I hope that kind of answered your question without getting like too rambly.
Cannot change society. Duel 1.
Which it's gonna depend because a lot of the Bridget players I've noticed now have really begun to get a good sense of how to properly fake out their air movements in ways that make it a little difficult for me to respond correctly, which is good. Nope. A little too obvious there. Careful. Fair. Alright. It's a little bit tricky with Bridget because her buttons are kind of quick and she has more range than it looks like. There. Shit. Good enough. Ooh. Good. She's out of meter though, so if I'm careful I can make this. That's a tricky part. Shit. Yes! Whew! That was a hard fucking call out. That was a hard read. That was a hard read and I nearly died for that shit. But I made it work. Got burst. I have one stamina meter left. Just gotta... Okay. Good. Okay, I can afford to wait a little bit. I don't have to run in. I don't have to run in. Right? Psychological pressure. Right? I don't have to run in. Right? Like, I don't have to run in there. Right? Because Bridget was low on health. I had at least over half my health left. Like, why do I need to run in to finish her? Just hang back, be chill, and eventually she'll get jittery enough that she makes a mistake. So yeah, I guess the sort of the reason why I guess in my case I'm like, yeah, it works a little bit easier with me with people that I don't know. There's this concept of something called a knowledge check, right? When you have a character in a fighting game, right, and they have certain, I'm gonna say the word gimmick, but I don't mean this in like a derogatory way. I just mean this in the concept of like a thing that they can do that will not necessarily work on people that know how to deal with it. Doesn't mean it's a bad option. It just means that it has limited utility against people who understand how to deal with it. So, like characters who have certain gimmicks, right? Certain things that they do that will catch people who don't know how to deal with it. Like knowing how to deal with that is something that we literally call a knowledge sheet, right? So if you're dealing with somebody who does not know a particular thing about a character, right, and you run a knowledge check on them, it's like, okay, I have this option. Do you actually know how to properly deal with it? If you don't, then that's when the psyching out becomes relatively easy because they don't know how to deal with the thing. Like in that case, I kind of got checked there because it's like, okay, if Bridget is doing this thing where she has the yo-yo out and then keeps doing the jump to the yo-yo, how do you check that? If you don't know how to do it, then you lose to that. And the answer in most cases is not always that you 6P, but that you sort of have to know when, because I'm out of stamina, which is not great. Get off me. Go back to the corner. Good. Like the main thing with Bridget is that not all of her moves you can hit with 6P, but one of the things that kind of like tends to rain on her parade a lot, if you're careful about when you time it, is 6P, especially Sins. Sins is really good for that. So like a lot of the moves that Bridget has that will hit like around where the upper body is, if you notice or know when they're gonna come out, 6P, provided that Bridget doesn't do what she just did there, for example, and go like, I'm gonna like backdash, or otherwise stop the roll before it comes out, right? Okay, that was not a disconnect on purpose. That was somebody's internet burping. That was somebody's internet burping, I think. Because, like, getting hit by one beak driver, like, off of, like, an exchange like that is not the kind of thing that, like, gets somebody to, like, drop. That was like a network burp. But yeah, when it comes down to, and it's funny that I thought I was supposed to be labbing today, and I'm not. I didn't actually do that much labbing. I just did like a little bit and just like went right back. It went right back in. I should, at some point, probably actually just sit down and lab out some things with Sin that I need to learn, and go from there. But hydration. Okay, let me step off of this machine then. And let me go do that real quick. Alright. I'm gonna go grab a thing to hydrate with, and then we should be good to go. 1 second. You learning in here? Hey Mello, what's up? Putting theory to yeah, it was supposed to be labbing. I did like a little bit. I basically did enough labbing, just long enough to remember a specific combo that I forgot, and to remember a couple other things, and to check one thing, and that was about it. And then we started playing afterward. So I didn't lab for very long, but I did at least a little bit. Yes, indeed. Happy Friday. How you doing? Cool Beans can still learn in Tower 2? Yeah. Basically, just about the only thing I really labbed out that's important is that for a particular combo that Sin does, it's not super great as an alternative, but it's a good alternate route. Where it's like, it's a good alternate route on the off chance that, like, your brain doesn't do good with doing 2H twice in a combo for Sin for whatever reason. If you have, like, height checks and things like that, and you want to use Tyrant Barrel, it's about the only new thing I labbed out. Pretty good. Just finished watching a movie with some friends and saw you on Tribe. Yeah!
Mankind knew that they
Whoop this mirror. We'll see. The main thing is that because I have not spent a lot of time... It's been a little while since I played in towers, like, for extended period of time. And I haven't done a lot of labbing with some of Sin's really intricate stuff. So this other player may know very well many more things than I do. And have just better pressure than me, but we'll see. I also don't get to do very many Sin mirrors, so good. All I wanted. All I wanted was the burst. Very important to me. Oh, good. Round start Hawkbaker. I respect it. Good. Ooh, baby, the damage. Yeah, like Hawkbaker is unlike in Guilty Gear Xr'd, where Hawkbaker is like Hawkbaker is not by any means a bad move. Let me put it like that. In Xr'd it has very specific applications. In this game it is much better as a reversal than it was in Xr'd, but if you're not paying attention, that shit will dip you real fast. Good burst. Good. Elk Hunt and that. Here. I probably shouldn't have full charged that dust. I wasn't in range. I made it work, but still. You both did round start 6P. I love it here. We both did round start 6P. We're like, alright, whatever. Like, whatever. Round start 6P, sure. Ooh, good backdash. Ooh. Good Gazelle stat. Ah, okay. I thought they would have baited that. I thought they baited that burst for a second. Y'all both shared a singular brain cell in that one moment. It was beautiful. Yeah! and notice that we both did 6P, got the clash, and then we both went, okay, but I bet they won't beat driver. And then we both went for beat driver. The burst. I like that the rating update doesn't force you out. Yeah, that was a very good quality of life change that they made. Where it's like you can just keep running the set. I fucked up timing. Okay. Ooh! If I just gotten the clean hit, I would have killed them. I would have killed them. If I got the clean hit, I would have killed them straight out. If I'd waited just a little longer, it would have done just enough damage to kill them with the wall break. Okay, so for people who have no idea what I'm talking about, let me explain this real quick for Sin. So, Sin has 2 super moves, right? Y'all have seen, right, the like RTL, right? Y'all have seen that one. He turns into an Electro Ball and does the 3 zaps and then does the burst thing, right? His other super move is called Tyrant Barrel. And this is how it works. If you get the first hit of Tyrant Barrel, Sin will launch the opponent upward, right? And if you either hold the button until the right time and release it, or if you press it again with the right timing, what will happen is Sin will basically bust them in the jaw with that punch. And depending on the timing, the closer you get to hitting them right before they hit the ground, the more damage it does. And so a clean hit, if you also do exclamation point FGC glossary and do clean hit, you'll see what I mean by this. But a clean hit is basically what happens if you're able to hit the exact spot at which it does the most, which Tyrant Barrel does the most damage. This is not a new mechanic to Guilty Gear, but it is one of the things that kind of like it is one of the things that kind of like defines certain moves in this game very well. So like, since Tyrant Barrel has a clean hit on it, in this game, Soul's the heavy slash version of his Volcanic Viper. So what is basically Soul's equivalent to the Shoryuken from Street Fighter. If you do the heavy version and you hit at the right spot with it, you get a clean hit effect and an ouchie. But like Sin getting a clean hit on Tyrant Barrel, I didn't get the clean hit, mind you, but even if I got a little bit closer to it, I would have done enough damage with the wall break to just flat out kill the other Sin that I fought. Like, just straight up. It's like, nah, you're done. Like, GG, no rematches, you're done. Yeah, clean hit as a mechanic is pretty cool. It's just also, depending on how generous they are or are not with the hitbox, it can also be a pain in the ass.
Are you ready?
Ah, shit. So, here's the thing with Giovanna. With Giovanna in particular, in this patch, there is a change that she got that is absolutely fucking frightening. I tried it a little bit, and it is, it's a lot, TM. You will probably see it because it has opened up a ridiculous number of routes for her at mid-screen, and it's kind of scary. Ah, gold burst. Oh, that might not be good. They got a gold burst. On the other hand, they can't. Oh, that's unfortunate. Ah, fuck. It's supposed to be SS. Messed it up. Plus. I got it by 6p. Ooh! I made that work, but just barely. She almost has burst back, so I gotta be careful when I open up. If I put a little bit of damage on her to start out, then we have some options. Good. That's fine. The main point is that I got her burst. There we go. Oh, why'd you try to press a button? Why'd you try to press a button? So,
Mankind knew that they cannot change society. Duel 1. Let's rock.
we didn't pay good money not to press buttons. Fair. Oh, I didn't have enough time to act after that. Got the burst. Ah, damn it. I maybe should have gone for like a giant barrel or something as part of the juggle combo, but I don't have that all the way up yet. Ah, I fucked up. I wanted to do RTL there. Alright. Let's see. Good. Ooh, good. Too slow. I didn't block the damn 2S. That's my own fault. Okie dokes, me callways, I'm like, yep. I know I keep missing games whenever you summon for them. At some point, we are due to play. I just keep happening to literally be in the middle of something else almost every other time you summon for games, and I feel bad. But yes, at some point, we are overdue to play.
Duel 1. Let's rock.
Got the burst. Nope, that's not fine. Ah, right. Have you ever played someone new on stream before? Yes. They're not somebody that I knew. They're not somebody that I knew from streaming. But I have had a friend of mine from graduate school come through for some matches to try a bit in a while ago. Whew. But yeah, so like I've had people that I like know personally play me on stream, it's not necessarily people explicitly from the community. I'm never not open to it. It's just that nobody usually people don't ask, and I can understand why. It's not like a thing where I'm like, oh, nobody from my community wants to play with me. It's like, no, I get it. Like, having that happen on stream can be a lot. So I'll put it like this. It's not that the offer is never open, but it's that I don't necessarily want to put people in the position where they feel like they have to. Like, if you're like, I play this game, and I think it's really cool that SJ plays this game, but I'm not about to, like, answer him saying, hey, does anybody want to play with me, to do that, and then, like, get smoked out. Like, I get it. There are people who don't feel comfortable with that, and I'm like, that's cool. I don't mind that.
Are you ready?
There have also been people in stream chat who might come through, like, when I was in the mood to keep trying to learn how to play Skullgirls, right? Before I ultimately decided that, like, Skullgirls is not a game that I enjoy playing enough to play it on stream. Like, I did have, like, 1 or 2 people who played Skullgirls who were hanging out in my chat come through to, like, my lobby in Skullgirls and come play. So it's happened before. It's just not something that I like. First. Ah, damn it. If I can crouch too low for 5p to hit. Annoying. I'm probably gonna lose this one because I lost my pace. Fine. I lost my pace there, so it's fine. I want to play a fighting game on stream. One day since putting my bio that I love them, but I'm nervous playing something with such a huge, opinionated fan base online. It's not Bioware game. It's just fair. It's one of those things where, even though I have not had to put this rule into place, it's thankfully not a thing where I've had to actually, like, operate on this principle while doing fighting streams. But I do have basically, like, a soft rule that, much like anything else, if you come in here and you start trying to, like, do, like, really weird bullshit about how I'm playing the character or what have you, I'm just gonna ban you. And, like, I don't care if you're better at me than the character. If you want to say run the set or whatever you want to do to kind of, like, prove that I don't know what I'm talking about, I kind of don't care. Like, if you're in my stream and you're fucking with the vibes, then you can leave. And that's me, right? That's how I operate, and it's one of those things where it's like, I understand when people are hesitant about it, and it's one of those things where, like, anything else, I'll just say, when you feel comfortable about it is when you should do it. If you're like, I'm not really sure about it yet, I don't feel comfortable yet, then that's okay, right? Like, it's not. It's also one of those things where I'll put it like this also, right? I like League of Legends, for example, but I will probably never actually ever stream League, ever. Like, not even a little. And it's just because, like, when it fuck, I'm dead. It's one of those things where like that game is for me to enjoy either by myself or with other people that I trust, right? And that is not necessarily a thing that I want a bunch of people on the internet to see and like say a bunch of like smart ass shit about to put me on top. And that's fine, right? Yeah. That might, yeah, exactly. Like you may find that like the best way for you to shit. Okay. Yeah, the best way to start might be like you don't do it to like you don't do it on Twitch to start because you know you got to kind of like feel out. Yeah, I fucked up. Ooh, I made it. I very nearly beat that, and that would have been embarrassing. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to throw. I just wanted to throw. I wanted to do gazelle step and then throw. That's all I wanted. But I got JD because I was mashing. That's kind of annoying, but that's my own fault. Oh. Yes. We're not getting too many rollbacks, but we're getting just enough that sometimes it's kind of a problem. Up. He's biking. Got the burst. Ah, wow, fuck! I forgot I forgot how big the fireball projectile is. I was like, I jumped that. I'm fine. It's like, no, the fireball projectile literally, like the bullet literally explodes and makes a fucking firework. You have to block the whole thing, and I forgot about that. Bitter, but it happens. That's my own fault. I forgot that literally that's how big the fucking fireball is, and I got done up for it. I don't know what console bothers me. It's another thing that makes me nervous when it comes to TV stuff like this. Later stuff doesn't affect me, and the most innocuous thing can stress me for days. Thanks, Shop. Yeah. Like, basically, it's kind of just the same thing that I will continue saying, which may not be helpful, in which case you can tell me to stop saying it. But it's like, it's just one of those things where it is okay to not know and to not be sure. Like, I've told this story before, but very explicitly, the only reason why I started doing this was because a friend of mine said, because she noticed that I like talking about fighting games a lot, and was like, you should really consider streaming them since you like talking about them so much. And it's a very offhanded suggestion on her part, and I was like, well, I'm really afraid that if I get salty a bunch on stream, then that will mess up the vibe of the stream and all this other stuff. And I gave it a try, and if something had happened where it was just like, you know, I'm not feeling it, then I would have stopped. And that's okay. Okay, so Testament. They like to do a lot of things at mid-range. I have to be careful about, like, when and how I go in, because, they outrange me by just a little bit, which means that, and there's certain things that they can do like this to sort of keep me locked down at long range without being like a long range specialist. Yeah. Ah, that was good. Fireball to stuff me. I can just stop for the... Yeah. I love the art in this game. Complex kinetic movement so well. Yeah. Like, ArcSys, one of the benefits about... one of the benefits for ArcSys in terms of, like, one of the benefits that ArcSys has had in terms of, like, how they chose to sort of handle a lot of the work that they took on after Guilty Gear XR'd, like starting with that game and afterward, is that it let them really develop kind of like the how-tos of this specific graphic style in a way that really lets them take advantage of it for things like this game, DNF Duel is much the same way, even though they only did like mostly art direction for that as opposed to like doing main development. Yeah, this Testament is really good about not letting themselves get like enticed into the range where Sin does Sin things and just moving around a lot and not committing over much and stuffing me out. Like that's mostly what's kind of saving them, which is good, right? That they have a really good sense of how to sort of flood the screen in ways that sort of stuffs Sin from doing Sin things and kind of just like a lot of it is just putting shit in the spaces where Sin is trying to move to when he attacks, and that's what makes us. That is what is making it hard in this matchup for me to do specifically. I didn't want to jump there. Ah, I got hit. Oh! I thought I got hit by that. That's unfortunate for them. Mistimed the meaty on that. Hit. Yeah, like, you can see it with the way that they're doing all of those skull placements and everything. It's a very deliberate strategy of just filling the screen with shit in the spots where I want to be to kind of, like, stop me from advancing all the time. And there it is, I died. Yeah, see? Because, like, even that projectile, even as it goes upward, is going to cover the space where I would elk hunt. Shit, I messed the meaty. Ah, that's annoying. I was trying to make sure that when they got up, I would hit them with a low kick right as they got up. Just to kind of keep them blocking, but I messed up the timing. And I got hit as a result. But all things considered, not too bad, honestly. So when we started the night, I was on the 8th floor because I was trying to play a couple of power matches. I was trying to play a couple of power matches, like the other night when I was playing this game, but I underestimated how rusty I was to the degree that I dropped from the 10th floor of the tower to like the 8th floor, which is not the worst thing in the world. It just means that generally, because I haven't played for so long, just not super on top of. I'm not back at exactly the same level of strength I used to have, really, which happens. So let's see. If I lose this match, I get knocked back down to the 8th floor again. If I win it, I stay. So let's see how it goes. So, like Testament, if Testament is like a mid long range character that really specializes in like obnoxious lockdown stuff, Kai is an all rounder. He has a fireball that he can use both on the ground and in the air. He has a DP similar to like Shoryuken or what have you. And is generally just a very flexible character all around with a decent set of buttons and things. Must move and needs heavy friction to work properly? Yeah. Thanks for the free punish. Don't do it again. Don't do it. I told you not to do it again. You did it. I was like, don't. So, yeah. This is the kind of thing that I mean as far as like... So now I have a rough idea. And I might still get surprised. But I can tell that this person, if I approach them under certain circumstances when they're really under pressure, they're going to try to use... But they really shouldn't. I'm out of stamina. I overextended a little bit. They bursted way too early. Yeah, they bursted way too early. Well, Sort of. It's one of those things where it's like, it's one of those things where honestly, if they'd waited too long to burst, I would have died. But because they bursted too early, they didn't have a good. They wound up messing up their opportunity to actually get out of when I was gonna fuck them up. Good. They like to vapor thrust a little too much, and that's what's gonna get them fucked up. Don't do it when I run up to you. Good. But they don't do that when I run up to you. You're gonna regret it. Yeah. See, like, and it's fine that I got hit by that. There, it's not like the end of the world, but. Yeah, fair. So, the main thing that Kai is doing, whenever he hits me with the fireball, that projectile, I get put into what's called shock state, which means that certain other moves that he'll do will trigger basically a longer time where I'm stuck blocking. Like now, if I get like getting hit by that, lets him get an extra combo in and do some other stuff. I'm trying to fucking do. Yeah, like if you're going to like do that shit, you gotta like actually burst early. Just get him off me. Nope, that's not safe. Stop that. Stop it. Stop trying to do Foudre Arc on me when I don't have shock state. It's not the flip kick that he keeps hitting me with, or keeps trying to hit me with. The thing is that if I didn't already get hit by a fireball and I'm not in shock state, then if I block that shit, especially if I'm standing, it's free. It's free punish every time. And they keep doing that, thinking that I'm gonna, they keep doing that, thinking that I'm going to like actually stop. See? Exactly my point. Like, why did you do that? Why did you do that? How many times do I have to tell you to stop doing fucking raw Foudre Arc? Stop it. Good, I'm dead. But yeah, every time they do raw Foudre Arc and I don't have shock state on, if I get hit by it, then cool, that's a great gamble. But if I don't, or if I didn't jump, like that for example, then you ate shit for no reason. Like, stop that. Later, Stubby. Stop doing that. Fair. Time, they got me, which makes sense.
一瞬だがソルと対峙しているようなプレッシャーを感じた。
Legend of Legaia with this art style. I'll run that back, unless they left, but whatever. Ugh. Also, possibly slightly less work, depending, maybe, but not necessarily the art style of it, but the speed is what. Maybe. Yeah, I'm definitely putting a maybe on that. I think it could work. It's just the question of some of that is definitely just the fact that like Legend of Legaia. I don't think that most PS1. I might be talking bullshit if I say that actually. I'm not sure what frame rate Legend of Legaia was targeting, so that might be part of why it feels slower than it is. That's plus. Okay, Gold Burst. Heavy. Dolphin. Yeah. Alright. Heavy. Whew. So Mei is interesting because she's a power type character, but also has like really weird mobility options with the dolphins and everything. So it's very easy. While she doesn't move super fast on her own, dolphins let her change momentum very quickly. And can even let her like continue pressure in a lot of ways. Whew. Maybe not as a remake, but a game similar to both. The offspring of Guilty Gear attacking and Tempe's fighting in Legend of Legaia, which... Okay, dynamic. No, I want it to go backwards. Fuck. Yeah, I guess probably the main thing that I'm thinking about is then what genre. Not that necessarily it has to be limited to a genre, but then it's like, what genre specifically are you thinking of with that? Because I don't necessarily disagree, but it's like the main thing primarily, right, is that, and this is not me saying that you cannot have a marriage of these elements, but it's more along the lines of like, are you thinking that it's like an RPG that happens to, yeah, because it then becomes just a question of like, where are you aiming with that? primarily. Not that it's like a bad idea. It's just one of those things where like I like the thought exercise, but now it's mostly just a question of it becomes then when you start thinking about like the design implications of that, it's like, okay, are you thinking about it in the terms of like, I want an RPG that feels like these two things, or I want a fighting game that feels like these two things? Yeah. I don't know about genre moving up shoot Asher. Yeah. I want an RPG that will storytelling at all. I want a battle part to be a fighting game. So, huh? Definitely feel like something in that vein. It's probably something that winds up touching vaguely in that direction. That I haven't thought of already.
Are you ready?
Yeah, that feels like it would be more along the lines of like an offshoot of an action RPG. Or rather, the general bucket of that is action RPG. That is what it sounds like. Which I think honestly is doable. It just becomes a thing of like... Yeah, the main question mostly is that then it... And it's not obviously something you have to figure out like right on the spot. But it then becomes also a question of like... how deep do you go on the fighting game element, right? Because with Legend of Legaia, for example, it evokes sort of the feeling of what it's like to string together combos without necessarily doing heavy-duty fighting game stuff. This isn't me saying that it's impossible to like kind of like wed those two things together, but it's one of those things where so it kind of feels like, I'm not saying it's a one-to-one exactly, it kind of feels in its own way like the way that like Soul Calibur 3 used to do its story, like the create a soul story mode element of it, where it's like, hey, you make your own character and you have an actual plot that you go through, but that's more like a tactical map top-down as opposed to...
Are you ready?
It feels like as we're talking about it, it's coming closer to what sounds in some aspects, but not all, like Eternal Sonata. Not in all aspects, because Eternal Sonata definitely leans more on the, okay, when you're in a fight, you're doing like Tales-style action RPG stuff. But if you're like, no, I just want like a straight up two-dimensional fighting game when it comes time for a battle. An interesting thought exercise. Flash kick. Oh, I did bait the burst, but I was expecting flash kick. There we go. So played, Voiding Tooth played this. Okay. It was just like yeah. The thought exercise is probably not actually that close to Eternal Sonata, but it's like, it feels vaguely like the kind of general shift that you get in that sense. No, like, as like a straight up like 2D fighting game is a very different question. Ooh. Oh, that was cute. So, let me explain what's going on here, because I realized that I got really focused on, like, not having Leo beat the fuck out of me. So Leo's main thing is that he has certain moves that will cause him to turn his back on the opponent. And in his back turn stance, he becomes a lot faster and is generally that's fair. In his back turn stance, he becomes faster and is surprisingly good at like punishing. It's surprisingly good at punishing people, kind of just pressing buttons or doing other ill-advised things. And so, like this, right? Where he becomes, like, a lot of his buttons become faster and he becomes much more aggressive. It's very difficult to kind of, like, deal with him. I was thinking, I said, so what the first really do want RPG's badass 15 fighting game. Yeah, so, like, Leo's main thing is that, like, yeah, when he has the back turned, like, he just becomes obnoxiously aggressive. And it becomes a lot harder to contest against him when he's in back turn stance. So, like, the main way that you deal with it, they caught on to what I was doing, which is why they stopped being so fucking reckless. But if a Leo is trying to, like, approach you with the intention of doing the stuff that gets him into back turn very quickly, if you know the timing of it, or you know the timing of what he's trying to do, you'll throw him. And then that pretty much ends that debate. Because the main thing about Leo in back turn stance is that he can't block. He has ways of doing a parry or otherwise defending himself. He's not completely defenseless during back turn mode, but he can't do like a straight up block. That shit doesn't work when he has his back turn. Should have done that. I did not have enough strength to actually get away with that. Okay, and then throw. Yeah, and this is the part that becomes dangerous, right? Ha! He tried, so yeah, Leo does have a counterattack move that he can use when his back is turned, but it doesn't work on throws. I got lucky there. Alright, see. Okay, that's fair. Okay, good. Then, two. Yeah. They didn't get close enough to let me throw them while they were in back turn. Like I said, like Leo, basically the main thing is that Leo cannot deal with throws. Okay, half a lot. He has ways of dealing with throws when he's back turned, but it involves deliberately spacing correctly so that he doesn't stand on top of you and get thrown immediately. Like you might have noticed that he was like stomping on my foot a lot after knocking me down. while he was in back turn mode, and that's basically how you stop. That is pretty much how you stuff out Leo. That's how Leo stuffs you out from like throwing him a lot. If he's in back turn mode, if he knows when to use that kick where he like stomps on your feet, that's how he stops you from just like throwing him all the time. But if he's not doing that and he's just running up on you or trying to like do weird things where it looks like he's crossing over your body and crossing back, throw him. Let's see. I was yawning a little bit, so I would prefer to give us a full 3 hours. But I also know that I may not be able to actually hold out that long energy-wise. Let's see how I feel after this match. If I feel like pushing it after this match, we'll go probably to like 9:30 to get the full 3 hours. Otherwise, I might just be fine at 2.5. Alright, it's Nagoriyuki. So, Nagoriyuki, this is basically the way that he works. Mojo talked a bit about him already, but this is basically how Nago works. As Nagoriyuki uses special moves, his blood gauge increases, which will increase the range of some of his attacks, but also increases the amount of damage that he takes. If his blood meter fills all the way up, he goes into a blood rage, wherein he goes into a blood rage, wherein he does way more damage, but he the simplest way to put it is that he also starts losing health rapidly, and he doesn't have a good time. And the main thing about Nagoriyuki in particular that tends to drive his blood gauge up a lot is that while he has a lot of reach, he does not have a lot of mobility unless he's using his special moves. And using his special moves causes his blood gauge to go up. Unless he lands that move, in which case it drains out and basically kind of goes into like a reverse flow state for a while. Landing that Bite, Blood-Sucking Universe, is really good for Nago. Because it basically means that, like, yeah. Landing that command throw where he bites you and drains your blood means that, basically speaking, the build up from his other blood-sucking moves is reduced for a bit, and it lets him kind of like use that a little more freely. Burst early. And that is why Nagoriyuki going into Blood Rage can be a really fucking bad thing. His health was draining, on top of the fact that I was able to block the activation of it. So it's like free real estate, basically. It doesn't make him a bad character by any fucking means, because he will basically push buttons when you're fucking up and make your life really fucking miserable. Yeah, Naga's more balanced now, but yeah, it's this kind of thing, right? Where it's like the key to being able to actually fight against Nagoriyuki successfully is that you basically force him to either whip his moves or overextend himself with you force him to overextend himself with his specials and things like that. I missed the last hit. And because he hit me with that, like him hitting me with that was like the only reason why he didn't go into Blood Rage. So when he hits you with moves with his sword that spill a little bit of blood, that slows down the increase of his blood gauge meter. So it's one of those things where if he's hitting you with moves that cause you to bleed, that's how he can offset. The overusing his special moves and things like that. No, I didn't want to jump. I didn't want to jump. Oh shit! I can't believe that worked. Holy shit. None of that was an action. There were gaps all over that. But he didn't have anything fast enough to catch me out. Blood-sucking universe. Damn. Gold burst. On the other hand, with a gold burst, if I can that's the key, right? Like, you have to force Nago to overextend with his special moves, usually in order to, like... Oh, that was unfortunate! Why'd you burst right there, buddy? Why'd you burst right there, buddy? Not a good call. Ooh, that was good. Yeah, so that's the main thing, right? When Nago does that, like, that sort of like flash stepping special move, where he disappears and kind of reappears in front of you. I don't quote me on this for sure, because I haven't studied the frame data, but there are a lot of situations where when he does that, there are probably ways to make it either gapless or very hard to punish, but if he doesn't utilize those, then if he tries to rush in and keep asserting pressure like that, especially if it's like, he does the thing, he does the flash step, and he goes for Blood-Sucking Universe, the command throw where you jinx your blood, that does not come out fast enough to beat certain jabs. So it's like, you went for it, but I jabbed you out of it, you gotta hold that. Okay. It's been a minute since I fought against an Ino. This is going to go either great or fucking terrible. This is the simplest way I can describe Ino. So, Milia's main thing, right? If you think back to when I fought Milia earlier in the stream, Milia's main thing is that she, once she knocks you down, she likes to basically throw a disc and start making you guess about where she's going to be next, right? Ino sort of does the same thing, but from a different perspective. Ino's main thing is that once she knocks you down, she wants to kind of air dash at you, or if she's not going to knock you down, she wants to make a situation where she gets to do a grounded dash that will take her to the air, and then you have to guess between whether or not she's going to, like, go high or go low or do some other stuff. Like, that's very much her thing. Like, with no knockdown, right? It's like that, basically. Ah, good, they waited. Ooh! I don't think a clean hit would have killed, but can't ask for too much. Reverse that, because I fucked up. Oh, that's unfortunate. So, Ino tried to do a dive kick at me, and then dive kicked right into the beat driver. Which is unfortunate, but you know. Got the burst. Also, I know that Mello might be crying a little bit on the inside because he is the Nino player. Very good one. So. Good. With the dive kick. But I got the throw. The burst. Ah, shit. Overextended on the stamina. They tried that. And fucked it up. Don't have the meter for... Okay, good. Good. Coverage. They waited and then did the jump. Yeah, so this is what Ino does basically, right? Once Ino gets a knockdown, she'll spit the note from the witch's hat to deliberately kind of like lock you down. And while she has you locked down, you then have to make a decision about trying to guess whether or not she's going to keep attacking you from the air after doing that, or if she's going to do something else. I've got the life advantage still, but I have to be a little careful. I wasn't expecting that to hit, but we take those. Alright, I'm back. Nice, I made it back to 10th floor. Take those. Good. Yeah, I should have just waited that out. Now I gotta make a guess. Whew. Made it. Just by the skin of my teeth. Ooh. Ooh. I got one more bar of stamina left. Gotta chill out a little bit, I think. 2, 3, almost 3. Another trick I'm using, I should also confirm. If I get hit in a combo and I'm like, I know I'm not going anywhere, I will use that time while I'm getting hit. I can check. Ooh, I could have been able to punish that, but I fucked it up. If I'm in the middle of a combo and I'm getting hit, I'm like, okay, this is either going to be short or it's not going to go anywhere. I'll use that, like, the stop from, like, the first hit as time to go, like, okay, I know I'm not going to burst right now. Let me take a second, check my meter, maybe check the opponent's meter, something like that, and get a better fix on, like, okay, what sort of situation am I in? And it doesn't have to be, like, a hard stare. And it's something that takes a little time, but, like, just learning how to, like, do quick reads like that, where it's like, okay, like, ow, damn, I got popped in the jaw. Well, I'm not going anywhere for a minute. How much meter do I have? Okay. How much health does the other person have? Okay, cool. These are not things that, like, you happen to, like, always, catch. Again, it's not a thing that, like, just kind of, like, springs up out of your memory to do, like, fully formed, right? It's not one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, I know how to do this as if you popped out of Zeus's head as Athena fully formed or anything like that, right? It's just one of those things that, like, you learn how to do it as time goes by, little by little, right? Like, the only reason why I called out saying, oh yeah, like, just now I went to go check a meter is because I was doing the thing, I wasn't thinking about it, and I'm like, oh yeah, I did just do that, huh? Right? Let's see if we get any games to, like, end it out. Let me look carefully over. I'm just checking who we happened to raid over the last couple of days, just so that I can, pick us a spot when we're ready to go that we haven't been to in a while, I think. I know who. Or, ooh. If she's still on, I think I know who we're gonna go visit, because we haven't been there in a hot minute. And most importantly, I saw the title of that game and went, I've never played this game, but the vibes will be nice and chill after all of my yelling and cussing and acting up and all this other kind of stuff. And I think it'll be a good time for being able to settle down. But that's if she's still on by the time we finish. I hope so. Let me perhaps already go pop a lurk in there, just so that I can keep on top of whether or not. Knowing it's a slow burn when learning how to main a character makes me feel less bad about stopping playing Guilty Gear and uninstalling and reinstalling and repeat. Like, this is just... This is just one of those things where, yeah, like learning how to play fighting games is a lot like running a marathon. I think that's the simplest way I can put it. If you are going to play fighting games, it is like you are running it's like you're learning how to run a marathon. Like, straight up, that's what it is. If I somehow run 2 copies of Guilty Gear Strive, hold on. Fuck. Okay, good. I think... Okay. Cool. As long as it's not the one we're actually playing. Okay, cool. Like, the main thing that I have to say about fighting games in general is that you are running a marathon. Not a sprint. It's not a thing where it's like you're gonna get how to do this. Like, it's a very slow process, right? You may find that there are some characters where there are certain things you grasp very quickly, and there are characters where there are some things that you grasp very slowly. It is not always like just a fixed thing where it's like, oh yeah, like I will be able to learn any character this fast or any character this slow. Individual characters have their individual quirks, and it's just that kind of thing, right? So it's not a thing where you should feel like you have to rush the process, because, like, I'll put it like this. Me coming to y'all with the level of skill that I have in fighting games is functionally something that, if I had to be, like, realistic about... If I was going to be realistic about, like, how long it really took me to get comfortable with, if I was going to be comfortable, if I was going to be honest with how comfortable it took me to, like, to really even, like, get used to most fighting games, like, it's not a short process, right? Like, I would say that as a fighting game player, I didn't even start really, like, looking into things like frame data and all that other stuff until I was literally, like, an undergrad student. Like, my second year of undergrad. Right? And that, at this point, would be... Even if we go back, like, 13 years, 2010, that's when I literally graduated high school, right? So we're talking, like, 2011, 2012, like maybe about the time that I actually started to really begin to, like, to some degree, right? Because I had at least I had a concept of, like, frame data and things like that. I had a concept of things like frame data and things like that while I was in, like, the ending stages of high school, going into college, and I had some understanding of, like, these things, but I didn't really get. And part of it is also that the environment has changed. I didn't really understand, like, or really begin to really get the real nuances of how you pick up a fighting game and how you really understand or learn about the way that fighting games work. I didn't start getting that until literally about 10 years ago. And even then, right, I would say that I didn't, to a certain degree, I didn't develop, like, what I would consider, like, the real kind of, like, I'm gonna say resilience here. And I know that resilience can have, like, a really charged meaning to some people, which is fair. But I'm gonna say it in the sense of, like, being able to deal with kind of, like, the psychological pressure of losing. That's what I'm talking about when I say that. Like, being able to deal with, like, yeah, we'll say it like that. Being able to deal with like the psychological pressure of losing, right? Or being on just like not a good streak overall, right? Or just kind of being able to sort of grapple with the fact that like you don't always like sort of decoupling my mindset from the idea that I have to be winning all the time or I'm doing something wrong, right? I didn't start understanding that until maybe about, if I say 3 to 5 years ago is about right, I think. I basically hit like a really bad slump in Street Fighter V while trying to get to into platinum rank in that game, right? I was trying really hard to get into platinum rank in Street Fighter V. And I eventually just literally hit a mental wall where I just could not seem to deal with certain strategies from other players or anything like that. And I was just like, I just can't break through this. I can't. And then I quit. Really. Like, I stopped, not altogether playing fighting games, but I played them a lot less for a while. And it was a thing where I was just like, I'm just not good enough. Because I'm not good enough to, I'm not good enough to, like, do this. I'm not good enough to, because I can't break into platinum, maybe I'm just actually terrible at fighting games after all and all this other stuff, right? And it took a long time to sort of, like, finally reapproach it from the perspective of, like, okay, it's not about that. I had to stop, like, playing ranked in Street Fighter, for example, for a really long time, and just do casual matches and player matches, and just, like, stop thinking about that kind of thing to really, like, hit a point in my mental growth where I'm like, okay, I can actually play this game and lose and not win all the time and not consider it a reflection of my ability or anything like that. Started watching a stream. Never even thought about fighting games that hard. Now I'm actually interested in getting good into it, instead of get good mentality. A lot of certain games take everyone's shot. Yeah, like this is the thing, right? And the thing, and this is also a thing that is like, and I'm saying this from like a certain position of like, gonna die because I don't know how to fucking fight against Chip. Thank God Chip has like shit for health, or that wouldn't have worked. Did we desync? Okay, no. I got thrown instead of being the one to do the throw. Thank God, I made it. But yeah, like, the thing I will always say also is that you do not have to be good at fighting games in order to enjoy fighting games, in particular, right? If you want to get better at them, in the sense of like, I just want to be able to do cool stuff more often, I think that's a great goal. And it's just one of the things where like, getting better or not better, the tricky thing about it, especially, is that, right? That metric is very different for everybody. and it's a very personal thing. Damn. Dansei Roga. Go. Yeah, it's like for me, right? I can't say something as enlightened as I don't care if I win or not, because that would be a lie if I said that. But it's one of those things where it's like, it's more along the lines of like I have begun to learn how to make peace with the fact that I am not always going to win, but that I do not always have to win in order to get better. And it's one of those things that I will absolutely admit is also about like, it can also be a mental health thing, right? Where it's like, if you are not in the position emotionally where you are able to kind of like have that sort of psychological understanding of yourself, where it's like, my worth is not tied to this thing and I do not have to be good at this thing in order for it to be meaningful to me, that can also like play a large part of it, right? I had to basically literally learn that and like literally just learn how to be okay with that, and also be okay with the fact that sometimes I get shitty and it's like, damn, right? But that's okay. And I think that is also an important part of, I think, getting good at fighting games too, that people don't talk about. And it's also about like learning how to like deal with sometimes the frustration that can come from making mistakes or not being perfect at it. And I think that's kind of like the important thing, right? Yeah, perfection is in fact that word. You're right. I would clear that through Automod, but currently fighting for my life. Yeah, Chip's main thing. Sorry, I've been talking about Chip at all because I started talking about like my personal fighting game philosophy and wasn't actually thinking about how to talk about Chip. So Chip's main thing, in case you hadn't noticed, much like Milia, he's very fast, and I'm getting punished. Oh, that's unfortunate. They thought I wasn't gonna block the overhead, and I did, and they didn't. They didn't Roman cancel it and got punished. So yeah, Chip's main thing, right, is that he is a very fast character, and much like Milia's main thing is Milia wants to knock you down, throw a disc, make you guess about what she's gonna do next, rinse repeat, right? Or be obnoxious and like throw fast buttons in the air on top of that and just sort of sit on your ass, right? That's kind of her thing, right? Ah, damn, she just finished. Ah, tears. But yeah, so Chip's main thing, by comparison, is that he likes to move like really fast, much like Milia does. But what Chip will do, instead of like what we call okizeme, which is a lot of like, oh, cool, I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do as I'm waking up because there's a disc on top of me and all this other stuff, right? What Chip likes to do, as y'all saw, he'll dart in and out. He'll make you try to guess about where you have to block. He'll poke you out and just be like super quickie, super fast, and like just be that kind of a pain in your ass, right? And that's his thing. But his main flaw is that, much like Millia, he doesn't have jack shit for health. So if you put hands on him like 2 times, he dies. So Millia's whole thing is she wants to move quickly, zoom in and out, get a knockdown, throw a disc so that you have to guess about which way she's going to go, or otherwise create situations where you do not know where it is that she's going to move and how. But she has a much stronger, what we call okizeme, which is this word. Millia has much stronger what we call oki or okizeme, which is like all about how do you like deal with getting up from getting knocked down. That whole situation is what okizeme is, right? And generally, Millia has a stronger set of tools for that than Chip does, because she can throw the disc while you're lying down, and it's like, well, am I going to stay on this side? Am I going to cross over the other side? Am I going to do something else, right? Chip doesn't necessarily have that, but he has a better sense of, I'm trying to think of the best way to do it. The way that he can kind of like relocate himself and otherwise do things that are more annoying. He has slightly less committal moves than Millia does, and that's more or less kind of the trade-off. But as y'all saw, if you put 2 hands on him, he kind of like folds very, very fast. Which is how they balance him functionally. Okay, so it is about that time for us. So thank y'all for coming by. I deeply appreciate it. I hope y'all enjoyed stream. Just to throw down some links and things so that you know where to find me and what to do and all that. Here's how it do. A good one? Good to hear. Thanks for streaming. I love the chatting and learning new things. I'm happy that y'all learn things. So, quick links. I write Medium articles, right? If you want to see my thoughts on example, approachability versus accessibility, more on the subject of fighting games, I did write an article back in 2022 about 4 things that I learned from fighting games. So if you liked some of the talk around fighting games that we had tonight, go to my Medium and go check out that article. I'm really proud of it, and I really like it. You may find that nice. Stream bots. Nowadays, like I said, we're going to be uploading pretty much Guilty Gear, like fighting stuff is going to get uploaded after stream is over. Same thing for like Legend of Legaia and things like that. It'll be all kicking in immediately and quick. So, by all means, please make sure you stop there. Stop over there and kind of do things from there. If you want to support the stream but do not want to give Jeff Bezos any money, throw money at my Ko-Fi instead of like doing subs, because what that will get you is wow, my brain is having a hard fight. If you choose to like provide via Ko-Fi, I keep more of that cut, and it generally just goes towards like general expenses and things like that, you know? My throne has things on it that I use for stream sometimes, or fun accessories, for like Kamen Rider things. that we can use for grouping around on stream. And my card has basically all of my other social media profile stuff. So you can hit that up as well. Discord is over here. So if you like what you see here and you're like, I want to talk with people even when stream's not on, Discord is for that. So next time I see y'all is going to be this Sunday, as far as stream goes. Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, playing more Legend of Legaia, as we do. If you're in the Discord, we're watching more episodes of Symphogear tomorrow evening. Pretty much about that. So, let me see. I'm pretty sure I know who we're going to go hang with, but let me make sure. The person I wanted to, they dipped. So I got to make sure that the person I am going to isn't going to end. All right, yeah, I think we know who to go to. So, we're gonna go hang out with the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend, the best host with the most, the king of OK Per View late night TV streaming, OKJ. He is currently playing some God of War Ragnarok, and it looks like he has gotten pretty deep into it. So if you've been trying to avoid spoilers for that game, you may not want to come along on this raid, but we're gonna go hang out with Adrian playing God of War Ragnarok. He is what we call a pro host. That is pretty much the simplest way I can put it. Adrian is the host with the most, straight up. So till I see y'all next time, whenever that is. Oh wait, before I forget, I forgot. I can't. That's not right. When we raid Adrian, if I can do this correctly without everything going straight to hell, let's try this again. When we raid Adrian, please give him an SJH Does Raids. Let him know who sent you. Throw in your favorite emotes, all that other stuff, you know? Let him know what's good, basically. So, until the next time I see y'all, probably with camera next time, right? Stay safe. So wash your hands, wear a mask. Don't go out if you don't have to. Be excellent to each other, but not to bigots, turfs, sexists, racists, generally terrible people. You don't have to be nice to them. They kind of don't deserve it. Till next time. Bye, everybody.